Hey guys, it's Haley. Welcome to another bookish video. So today I'm going to be giving you my complete guide to all of Shari Lapena's books. So if you don't know who Shari Lapena is, she's a pretty popular domestic thriller author. She pretty much exclusively writes domestic thrillers, which you guys know that's my jam. So I really enjoy reading her books, even if they're not like the most literary masterpieces. I still think they're really fun and just kind of mindless. If you need something to read while you're like on a plane, by the pool, I would highly recommend these books. They are very hit or miss, so I'm going to be giving you the full rundown for each of her books, giving my star rating, and then ranking them at the end. So the book that you would probably recognize from this author is The Couple Next Door. So this was my first book that I read from her, and I read this in 2016. So it was...
Okay, we don't need to fight. Why are we fighting?
This was the first book that I read from her, and I read it in 2016. It was at the very, very beginning of my thriller love journey. So I rated it a 4-star then. If I read it today, I think it'd be about a 2-star, just thinking back to the plot and what happened. Basically, this book follows a couple who goes next door.
Who would have thought?
To their neighbor's house for a dinner party, and they're just chilling. It's kind of like a little couples get-together thing, but they leave their newborn baby next door. They have the baby monitor. The baby's just sitting in a crib, sleeping, so they think it's fine. Personally, I would never do that, but I love reading about thrillers with people who have really bad judgment, so it didn't really bother me, that piece of it. I know some people were annoyed that the mother was just like not great, but I think we can show grace for all different types of mothers, especially fictional ones that are extremely entertaining to read about whenever they are, you know, not being good mothers. So they go over there, they're drinking, they're having a good time, and eventually they make their way back over to the house to check on the baby. They're checking like every 20 minutes or something like that. And the next time the wife goes to check, her daughter is gone. The baby. Completely gone. Door's locked. Don't know how anybody could get in, but her child is missing in action. So the way that this book unfolds is kind of annoying. There's a lot of action at the very beginning and the very end, but the middle does drag a lot, even for a very short book. And I think I gave it a 4-star at the time that I read it because it was one of the first thrillers that I read, and I was just so caught off guard by the twists. I wasn't used to reading books with very big twists, so that's why I ended up rating it a 4-star then, but again, today it would probably be a 2-star for me. Next up, we have A Stranger in the House, obviously by Shari Lapena. This one is really confusing, and there's about a million things going on. So basically, this woman gets in a car accident, and a man is also murdered in the area where she has her car accident. The murdered man gets taken to the morgue. The woman nearby in the car accident gets taken to the hospital. She has amnesia. She can't remember why she was there, what she was doing, or if she was involved in the murder.
Yeah, I know that's a lot. So I'm just gonna give you a second to process that.
That is one of the weaker things about this book, is that the plot is very confused. There's a million and one things going on. We're following a million different perspectives in this little suburban area, which I usually really like following many perspectives in a domestic thriller because then you get everyone in the neighborhood's tea on each other. But in this one, it was just really confusing. Some of the characters were annoying. So overall, I just gave it a 2.5, 3 stars, somewhere in there. It was very entertaining and it was a very quick read, but it was just very confused and convoluted, and I predicted the ending like halfway through. Next up, we have An Unwanted Guest. So if you like isolated settings, snowy mysteries, this is for you. If you enjoyed One by One by Ruth Ware or The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley, you will love this book. And I think personally that this book is better than both of those that I just compared it to. All of these guests are staying at this little like bed and breakfast in the Catskills. So very isolated, very mystical and wonderful winter setting, and they end up getting snowed in there, and they're all stuck with each other, and they start dropping off, you know? Each guest starts getting murdered, and they're finding them dead. So one of them that's stuck there at this resort is a murderer, and they're trying to figure out who it is. This book kept me guessing from the first page. Every single time I had a theory about who the murderer was, that person would end up being murdered. I don't know if I just was falling for all the red herrings, but I don't think I was. I'm a pretty seasoned thriller and mystery reader at this point, and I think this is just really well done, beautifully atmospheric, 5 stars, one of my very favorites of Shari Lapina's. Next up, we have Someone We Know. This is a domestic thriller about a neighborhood where break-ins are taking place, but nothing really valuable is being stolen, so they're kind of trying to figure out the motive, and then all of a sudden these letters show up at the houses that got broken into apologizing for breaking in. So it was obviously like a kid, and a kid's mother in the neighborhood was sending out apology letters for her child, and he was breaking into people's houses. Well, one of the houses that was broken into, a murder happens. The wife ends up dying, and the husband is under a lot of suspicion, but he's trying to argue that there was another person that broke into his house. So everyone's trying to figure out, who is this kid that is breaking into houses where his mother was sending out apology letters? Who actually murdered this girl? Was it the kid? Was it the husband? It is convoluted, kind of like A Stranger in the House, but much more easy to follow. I did predict the ending, but again, these are just fun little ways to escape, and it's really satisfying for me sometimes to read a predictable domestic thriller where I can just be like, oh, I think I know what's gonna happen, like at the halfway point, and then when it ends up happening, it's just like very satisfying, and it's a really fun and quick reading experience. So overall, I rated this book 4 stars. I had a great time reading it, and I highly recommend it. And lastly, we have Shari Lapina's most recent book, which is The End of Her. So this book follows kind of a blackmail scheme that's going on. This man named Patrick lost his first wife in a tragic accident, and he's now married to another woman, and they have a beautiful set of baby twins, and his life is seemingly perfect from the outside. And it seems like he's left all the trauma from his first wife's death in the past. Well, this woman from his past, it was actually his first wife's best friend, ends up showing up and saying, I know you murdered your wife, and if you don't pay me off right now, I'm gonna go tell the police and provide them with the evidence, and you're gonna go to jail. So that starts happening, and other things start unfolding from there. You find out all of these secrets that have been buried over years, and how everyone really has a way where you can blackmail them because everyone has a secret and something going on, and you're trying to figure out if he actually murdered them, what happened. I really enjoyed this book. It does have its flaws. It is a little confused and meandering during the middle, like 150 pages. The very beginning and the very end are phenomenal. Like such good domestic thriller writing. But that middle just kind of drags a little bit and gets a little hazy because we are following so many perspectives, and I feel like that's a pretty common theme with Shari Lapina's books. But I can get past it for this one because the end was so insane and so shocking. This was a 3.75 star for me, rounded up to a 4, so let's just call it a 4. So that is a brief overview of all of Shari Lapina's books. Now I'm gonna go ahead and rank them, starting from the worst book. Ironically, I think it's her most popular book is her worst, and that would be The Couple Next Door. Next up, a little bit better than that, but not quite, is A Stranger in the House. Then above that, I'm gonna go ahead and rank The End of Her. While I did really enjoy it, I just think her couple of other books carried out this same type of structure a little bit better. Above that, I'm gonna have Someone We Know. And at the very top, An Unwanted Guest. This one I cannot recommend enough, especially if it's still cold where you live. I think this would be a great read for you to pick up here at the end of winter. Okay guys, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more about a specific author's entire backlist. Let me know if you like this format of video, and I can go ahead and do this type of video with all different types of authors. I just have to make my way through their entire backlist, so it does take a little bit. So if you're interested in a specific author, let me know down below. I did film this for Lisa Jewell's thrillers. I haven't read all of her past, like early 2000s contemporaries and mysteries, but I did film a guide like this for Lisa Jewell's thrillers, so be on the lookout for that. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.